For the 30-degree laparoscopic camera navigation, we're using a 30-degree laparoscope with the bevel cut as shown here. It's important to understand the mechanism to work this camera. The back hand holds the digital camera head, and the front hand moves the fiber optic light cable in a circular fashion such that that bevel is manipulated in a rotational fashion. So if the light cord is pointing straight up in a 12 o'clock position, the bevel is facing straight down and looking in a downward fashion. So this is a two-handed instrument. Both hands must be moved in a coordinated fashion to achieve optimal centering of an object and to provide angulation with which we can look around corners and see different objects. So we will insert the laparoscope into the trainer. Again, I'm accompanied by a proctor who can visually rate me on my performance. We have the monitor mounted template to guide target acquisition. So as shown here, there are a total of 6 different targets, and these are all shielded targets such that the angle of the laparoscope must be used to navigate beyond the shielding to acquire the appropriate target. We will do this drill in a clockwise fashion, starting in the left lower corner, go up the left side of the trainer box to the rearward position, and then down to the right side towards the front position, and finally with the last box in the front of the trainer. So we will start the stopwatch and then acquire this image as shown here by manipulating the laparoscope, achieving the appropriate angulation. The countdown timer is started for 5 seconds to be held very steady. I can then move to the second target, and I have to manipulate both the angle and the horizontal orientation of the laparoscope to acquire the appropriate image. And this is somewhat of a learned skill. I just switched hands to manipulate the light cord with my left hand. Now that we're moving on to the right side of the trainer box. And both the camera cord and the digital camera head have to be moved simultaneously to achieve the appropriate sizing and orientation of the given target. Once all 6 objects have been acquired, we can then stop our timer. The proficiency level for this drill is 80 seconds, and we can repeat testing or training as needed. So we will start the countdown timer and acquire the first image. And this object has to be sized appropriately. The angle has to be appropriate to navigate around the shielding of the target. Once it has been held for 5 seconds, we can then go in to acquire the next image as shown here. This is very much a learned skill, but with a bit of practice, it is certainly very achievable. And I'm not quite there, so we'll have to restart. Certainly if you drift out of the target, then the stopwatch, the countdown timer must be restarted. And then we'll end with the last box here. And it's important for the proctor to stand relatively in the same line of eyesight as the trainee, such that a accurate picture of target acquisition can be achieved. Once we have finished achieving target acquisition for all 6 stations, then we can stop the timer. Similar to the 0-degree board, we can actually do self-practice without a proctor, simply by starting the stopwatch, and once the first target is acquired, glancing down at the stopwatch and counting off 5 seconds, and then moving on to the next target. This does take a bit of practice, and as you can see, if I go straight in with the orientation of my camera as such, I will run into the shielding and cannot appropriately acquire the target. So what must occur here is that the angle of the scope must be adjusted such that I can come in and view it around that shielding. Similar to the 0-degree camera navigation module, if my horizontal orientation is incorrect, then I must rotate my back hand and I must pull the scope in or out to achieve appropriate sizing. To steady the image, it is helpful to brace one hand on the trainer box, much as we do in the operating room on the patient's abdomen, and we can go around to acquire the appropriate images. And again, if I come in straight over the top of this, I will not be able to acquire the appropriate image because it is shielded. I must manipulate the camera cord, the light cord of the camera, such that the angulation is appropriate and I can see inside of the shielded target. We continue to do that around each target until proficiency is achieved. And for testing purposes, we do recommend a proctor to be present to verify that all of the skills, all of the targets are acquired in the appropriate fashion. This is a learned skill and will take some practice to achieve two-handed coordination with the use of this angled laparoscope.